CIS 1103 week 910 internet layer and routing. We studied the 7 layers of the OSI. The TCP IP layer is 4 layers according to your book. The router is responsible for routing the packets according to the source and IP address. The router uses IP version 4 address or IP version 6. It depends on your network. IP version 4 is the logical address. Okay. So here we have an example. This user is sending email. Okay. What is the length of IP version 4 address? We have studied this before, 32-bit. Okay, 32-bit. Please don't forget this. And it is divided into 4 parts. Each part is called an octet. Okay, and each octet is 8 bits, 8 binary bits. For example, 192.168.1.5. Remember, we did the conversion last time. So this is the equivalent of 192.168.1.5. They forgot to put the dots here. They should put the dots. To convert, we have already discussed conversion, and we have done a lot of examples, so you can see the recording on that, the lab. Okay, now this is the conversion that we have created, that we have done before. The IP version 4 address has 2 parts. The first part is for the network. The second part is for the host. So if I have 172.16.30.56, the first 2 octets, these are for network. Please look here. N. This part is N. This part is N. This part is for host. Host and host. So this is a class P. Okay. So for this network, who can answer? What is the network address here for this one? 172.16.0.0. What is the host address? 30.56. آخر جزئين هم الهوست، أول اثنين هو النتورك. Okay. How do I know which part is the network, which part is the host? By using the subnet mask. We'll give you an example here. We do an AND logical operation between the IP address and the subnet mask so that the result will be my network address. And what is logical AND? Logical AND, 1 and 1 is 1. 1 and 0 is 0. 0 and 1 is 0. 0 is 0. All zeros except if you have 1 and 1. And it's like multiplication. Okay. So here, this is my host, this is my subnet mask, and this is my network address, 192.168.10.0. Okay, this is how we got it. First, you convert it to binary, then you do ANDing. We have different IP version 4 classes. We have class A, class B, okay, class C. A class A is where you have only 1 octet for network and the other 3 octets are for host. And the range is from .1 into 254. Why I don't have 255 as a host? Because 255 is the broadcast. So for each one, you have to know what is the broadcast address, okay? And what is the host range. You have to remember that. You have to know that, okay? Class B is you have the first 2 octets network, the last 2 octets host. So this is the range. Again, why I have this as 254, not 255, because the broadcast is 255. Class C is the most popular for us here. The first 3 octets are network, the last octet is for host. So this is the range for this example, and this is the broadcast address. So question, if I have an example network of 192.168.200.0, what is the range of IP addresses? It will be 192.168.200.1 إلى 192.168.200.254. And the broadcast will be 192.168.200.255. Any questions about this? Here I have different networks, and they have different network structure. How I can connect them? I can use a router to connect them together. So router can connect between different LANs. Now we have different terms for such as broadcast. Here in broadcast, the message is sent to all the hosts in the network. So this is an example of a broadcast here. This is a broadcast. Unicast, the message is sent only to one end user, to one end machine. Multicast, the message is sent to multiple hosts. What is a broadcast? Remember we said each router interface connected to a LAN is considered a broadcast domain. The router will stop the broadcast. Okay, because they are in the distribution layer, they have the power to limit broadcast. Okay. Why? Because too many hosts, too many broadcasts will generate excessive broadcast traffic and slow the network. Also for security, it separates and protects certain group of computers where confidential information reside. Also, it can hide the addresses of internal computers. So that's why you need to do routing. Very important slide. Also, location. Routers in the distribution layer can be used to interconnect local networks at various locations. Yani I have different sites, I can connect them using router over the WAN link. Also, you can use it for logical grouping. Okay, they can be used to logically group users according to their departments or in the company. Okay. Yani for example, I can have engineering in one logical group. I can have accounting, students, staff. Okay. As I mentioned before, in this address here, the first 3 octets are my network portion. The last octet is my host portion. Now remember from our previous chapters, the switch uses what? MAC address or IP address? Switch uses MAC address. The router uses IP address, okay? So the router will do path selection. For example, if I have a packet, okay, this here computer from H1, if the H1 wants to send message, can you see it here? let's say H1 wants to send message to H6. The message will go to the router, and from the router will go to H6. So we call this routing, okay? In the routing table, I will have a list of each network connected to what interface of the router. Please, this is important. Here I have network 10.0.0.0. It is connected to fast Ethernet 0/0. Can you see it? So which network is connected to fast Ethernet 0/2? Who can tell me? Who can tell me which network is connected to fast Ethernet 0/2? 172.16.0.0. So this is what we put in the network table. The routing table, and it will put the important information. What is connected to your router interfaces? Okay, what is connected to fast Ethernet 0/2? Zero slash two, Shabab. Which network is connected to 0/2? It is this one. This is 0/2. It is connected to this network. You see here? What is this network? What is this network address? 192.168.1.0. Network address يكون 0 لأنه هذا 2 is the host. Network address is .0. So this is what is entered in the routing table. Very good. Okay, now here they give you an example of a broadcast. If a broadcast is coming from the switch from here to the router will not allow it to bypass the router. It will be blocked. Okay, understood? So the router will do packet forwarding. Okay. The router will be, the packet will be forwarded to another LAN if the destination is on a different LAN. Yani here, if I am sending from H1 to H3, does it need to go to the router? Yes or no? No. Why? Because H1 and H3, they are in the same network, the same local area network. And if I am sending a message from my computer to your computer, does it need to go outside to the router and then come back to you? No, because you are in the same local area network. Okay. But if I am sending from here, from this computer to this computer, it has to go through the router. Okay. So this is the routing table entries. Routing table contains network addresses and the best path to reach a network. There are two-way routes can be added to a routing table. Dynamically learned, يعني هاي أنواع الroutes. Dynamically, this is learned from other routers, and manually, it's entered by the administrator. It's very important. If you want to specialize in networking, you will study this more in advanced courses. A default route is the router interface used when forwarding packet to a destination that is not in the routing table. If a packet is distant for a network that is not in the routing table and you have no default route, the packet will be dropped. So it's always important to put a default route. Okay, so this is an example here. Type default gateway. We have explained this before, so please look here. What is the default gateway for H1? What is the default gateway for H1? It will be the interface of the router this side. يعني زي الباب. If you want to go out, you call it gateway. This is my gateway. My gateway, the gateway for any computer in this network is the router interface. مش بس الراوتر, this router interface. And what is the address of this router interface? 168.1.254. Okay, it's written here. Okay. Another question: what is the interface for this computer here? The gateway. It will be this side of the router. Okay. It will not be the same IP address. راح يكون ال IP address تبع هذا الانترفيس. But they did not put it for you in the table. خلاص شباب? Okay. So for these computers, the gateway is the router IP of interface, this interface IP address, which is given to you here, 192.168.1.254. But if you were asked what is the gateway for this network, it will be the router interface this side, which will have a different IP address, but it's not given to you in this table. Okay? How do we assign a static IP address? I have shown you last time. You need to go to the computer configuration when we did, and then you go to desktop IP configuration, and then you assign and put the IP addresses. You put the subnet mask and the default gateway. Also, you put the DNS if you are asked to do that. Okay? This is called static. This is called the static IP address. But the problem with static, if you have many computers, is it practical to use static? It's not practical. It is better if you use dynamic way, automatic way, by using DHCP, which is the first option. The second option, if you are doing static IP address. Okay. This is the dynamic. I will put obtain IP address automatically. By the way, this is coming in the quiz also and in the practical. You just click on obtain IP address, okay, and obtain DNS automatically. Much easier, but sometimes you need also to assign. You need to know both ways, okay? What are the benefits of using DHCP? These are the benefits. Reduce the burden on the network support, okay? And also, it is not permanently assigned. It's only leased for a period of time. Any questions? This is the last slide for this chapter. Please let me know if you have any questions.